Hello and welcome to Elden Ring. This is part 7 of the run where we prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. In case you don't know, in this run we will go through every weapon, shield, armor set, talisman, spirit ash, physic tier, and cookbook that you are going to need, no matter what build you're running. Now last time, we kinda rapid fired 3 parts between the left, middle, and right sides of Liurnia. And while I didn't show them, you can also get Page Ashes, Cadence Sword, 2 Sorcerer ones, the Caria Ashes. You can get Great Blade Phalanx, Ancient Death Rancor, Flame of the Fell God. You can get a few Ashes of War like Giant's Hunt and Ice Spear. You can also get some weapons like Frozen Needle, Watchdog Staff, Knight Rider Glaive, Scythe. You can get the blue-white wooden shield, the Noxmere helm, and the red feathered branch sword. And those are the things that I didn't point out while going through. So, if those interest you, you'll have to find them on your own. But this time we are starting at the Caria Manor, right at the entrance, and heading on in. There are 3 ways to go. You can go left, you can go forward, or you can go off to the right. I'm going to be going off to the right, as it has the best rewards. Now, you should watch out, as there are some new enemies here, and some of these enemies are pretty big, though they do get stunned quite a bit by being hit by fire. Though once you hit them with fire once, then they're immune to that reaction for a short amount of time. Now, if you aren't comfortable fighting them, even with fire, you can just run past them onto here. They won't follow you up here. But from here, you can head into this doorway, where there will be an enemy and a cookbook. You can ignore that thing that just happened in the background. Now you see, this cookbook gives you freezing pots, which are pretty easy to make, especially once you make it to the mountaintops. And they were, for a time, very, very popular against Malenia. So, you may want to pick those up. And you may notice that there's some blue things and some noises going on. As I said, just ignore them. They're supposed to be traps, but that delay is so long that they just don't work. I will acknowledge them a bit in the future, but for now, we're more concerned with the 2 giant hands. And you are gonna have to go through at least one of them in order to get the items that we're going after. And as you can see, they hit pretty hard. And because they're so big, their swings are pretty wide. And I wasn't showing it at the time, but shields are pretty decent against them. I was mostly doing this to show why shields are important. But there you can get the Carian Piercer sorcery, which is kind of like a giant spear made of magic. Now here, you may want to take things a bit carefully, as there are some of those giants under the ground. And so you may want to take things slow and just watch for the fingertips, since they poke out. But from there, you can head through here, or you can sneak around that left side. Either way, whatever it takes to get you here, where you can get 3 Smithing Stone 2. And then from there, you just want to head generally north I like to follow this main path as it's very simple and has the least amount of enemies. Now there are some random items scattered throughout, but nothing special or important. So you can go through if you want, but it's going to be more combat than anything. And the items that you can get aren't anything spectacular. But heading up here, you can get a smithing stone 4 and a set of grace. And so you won't have to worry about the ground level enemies anymore, as those giant hands are no more. But here we are on Manor lower level, and you can take off the fire because, again, no more of those giant hands. Instead, we are to these ghostly soldiers, which you've been dealing with these soldiers for the entire game up to this point. Now, they are Caria soldiers, which doesn't mean a whole lot. Here you can go left or forward. We're going to go left. Forward is progress, though. But the main difference is these guys just have a different colored chest piece, if you care about that. But functionally, they're pretty much the same. So they do have one, like, craftable item that they can throw at you, which we've seen before, but that's about it. But we can take this drop here, and another jump down, and then we can drop down. You won't take any damage, it's fine. And here, inside this chest, is the Sword of Night and Flame. This is a straight sword that does physical, magic, and fire damage. It scales off everything besides arcane. It requires everything besides arcane. It has a very special, unique skill, and it is one of the legendary armaments. So if you're really into magic, especially dual intelligence faith, that may interest you. And then from there you can either run back through the ground level up to here, or you can teleport like I did. Teleporting is faster, though it does respawn these enemies. But also, these enemies are pretty easy. As I said, you've been dealing with them for the entire game up to this point, and they are basic soldiers, so not a big deal. But here I'm going to acknowledge these now. It is a sword in the ground. You get close to it, it pops out, and after like 2 seconds or so, a great glintstone shard flies up into the air. The reason why I was saying ignore them is because the delay is so long that you're never going to get hit by them. Like, I've beaten Elden Ring around 30 times up to this point, and that is full playthroughs. But I've only ever been hit by that trap once, any of them, and it was on purpose just to see what it did, because I had gone so long without getting hit by one despite triggering all of them that I had convinced myself they weren't even a trap. So, not a big threat at all. Just ignore them and you'll be fine. As you can see, just more enemies, more of these basic soldier enemies, and some of those traps just sprinkled about. Nothing too special. And eventually you will get to this elevator. We are going to take the elevator up, and at the top there's going to be a site of grace. From there, we are going to turn right back around and head back down the elevator. The reason we're doing this is because there's a jump off to the side, and if we had taken the jump immediately, then we'd have to go through the ground level again, or go through the enemies again. So getting the Site of Grace before taking this jump down allows us to skip both of those. But there you get 8 rhymed crystal buds, which allows you to make 4 freezing pots. So that will allow you to try those out if you want to see what they're useful for. And here, there's a few small hands, but none of the big ones. And they are protecting the Arumi, which is a whip, dexterity whip, and it does slash damage instead of strike. So whether that's good or bad depends on the person viewing it, I suppose. Though it also has a unique heavy attack. So that may interest some people. And then here, there's one of these enemies. If you're wondering, this path beyond the Arumi is just this enemy, and then a somber smithing stone, I believe 3. So if you care about that, then you can head on through here, defeat the enemy so that way they aren't aggroed onto you, and then you can make your way to that somber smithing stone 3. If not, you can grab the Arumi and just head to the Manor upper level. Either way works. But from here, you can continue on. There's a summoning pool in case you need help. And then heading down and forwards is a sapling with a golden seed. And in this area, there are these wolves. These are not the wolves that you've been going up against throughout the game up to this point. These ones have new attacks and a lot more health. Now there's a troll. You want to just run past them or run to the left and jump. And as you can see there, that gets the wolf off of you because they can't make the jump. But it also allows you to go sneaking around the giant. So, twofold reason for heading up here. But from here, you can just walk along this side to sneak on through. And you can go... Well, you can kill the giant for their weapon, as it is a guaranteed one-time drop from the one here specifically. Or you can head up the stairs to fight the boss. You can do that immediately. Or you can jump over here, and then you can drop down, and here you can get another smithing stone 4. And then you can jump down, and then you can take this jump once again to make your way up. And typically, the giant will not see you. At least in my experience, they haven't seen me in the previous runs. They did here. That was a bit unlucky. But those giant things above their head, that is the Great Blade Phalanx sorcery. Yours does not come with a roar, sad to say. But after getting the smithing stone 4, you can just make your way up. And that was lucky for us, unlucky for them. And we can continue on. into this room where you will find a boss, the Royal Knight Loretta. And they're on their horseback. Because this is a legacy dungeon, you don't get to jump on your horse, so no horse combat for you. At least not a two-way streak, sadly. But take note of that attack. We will come back to that later. As killing this boss gets you an Ash of War, and that's what that Ash of War is. Or what it does. And then just continuing the fight, take note of that sorcery that they used. The one with the bow. As beating this boss also gets you a sorcery, and you get 2 rewards for this boss. Loretta's Great Bow Sorcery, and the Ash of War, Loretta's Slash. And she showed both off in that fight. But sitting down, you can now head back through the way you came, and you can take a right, and there's a doorway somewhat hidden here, and you can take a few jumps down. Here there'll be one of these giant pot jar enemies, whatever you want to call them, and okay, well, heading off southeast from there, you can get a cracked pot, or looking out just to the left, and continuing on, these enemies, pretty easy. There's quite a lot of them, but two-handed longsword, a heavy attack, and a light attack brings them down. The heavy attack is to stun them because the light attacks don't. So, in case you are having trouble with them. And sadly, not much you can do to stun the large ones with a longsword, unless you're willing to use some skills. But just more enemies, continuing down, taking drops. As I said, just continuing to continue on. And after clearing through all the enemies, in this corner is a smithing stone 3. And then from there, you can drop down and then you can drop down onto the structure where you can find the Ash of War, Carian Grandeur, however you pronounce it. And from there you can head back to the Royal Moon-Gazing Grounds Site of Grace. And you can just head forward, north, towards that knocked over chair, whatever you want to call it, to the Three Sisters. And you can go left, forward, or right. forward is for later in the game. For now, we are going to head off to the right, as we always pick progress last. Now, there are some enemies sprinkled throughout. You can kill them if you wish to get some more runes, or you can just run past them. And here you can get the Frozen Armament Sorcery. This applies Frostbite to your weapon, if you want that. And there's a Site of Grace if you wish to pick that up. But here you can continue on, and you can take the right path, as there are a few goodies down this way. Now when the rocks start to jut up, you want to move over to the right to follow them. And we're gonna have to take out these enemies to be able to look at the map. Okay, so down on the right side of Liurnia is the Artist Shack. Going there, you can get the painting for the juvenile set, along with a larval tier. And you can also get the Albinoric ashes. They're not that good, but they're on the way, so decided to show them. And there's a red wolf. If you want to fight them, you can. If you do, best of luck to you. But here, there on the map, there is an Everjail. It is an Onyx Lord, and beating them gets you the Meteorite sorcery. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can fight them, but I don't see it as being good enough to warrant fighting them, at least not with the build that my character is going for. So now we can head back to the previous Site of Grace and up to the left. Here there's a Scarab, gets you the Ash of War Chilling Mist. This is basically a skill that combines two different sorceries, both Frozen Weapon and Freezing Mist, as a 2-in-1 as a skill. So, pretty neat. There is a dragon. Don't fight them. Even if you can kill them, they don't give you any rewards, so it's just not worth it. But here, there's a Site of Grace, and you can continue heading up the elevator, and it is here on the map. Now up here, there's going to be an NPC that you can talk to start a major quest line.
Oh, again we cross paths. I believe it pleases, but Tani, I have no...
So, the answer here depends on if you gave the Black Knife print to Roger or not. If you did, then you have to do a bit of back and forth between him in the Round Table Hold and her here. No particular reason, is just faster and easier, so that's what I'm going with.
No reason in particular, thou claimest. Intriguing. Wilt thou? I am the that I might well.
Say yes.
I see. Thou art a. But I require. I anticipate. Good. There is. I would have. I have called. Heed not. I am sure.
And once you get to there, you can head down and you can talk to 3 NPCs. Now, don't mind me throwing myself off down here, it just makes things go by faster.
I see. Yes, I don't know what since I asked. I and pay should do if it were up, but who?
Blythe, glad to have you in the service of Mistress Rani. Well, getting right to business. I'm still in Limgrave. The eternal city of Nokron lies somewhere at the bottom of this land. I'm planning to go below through the well in the Mistwood. See if I can't find the road to Nokron from there. I'm going below through the well in the Mistwood. See if I can't find the road to Nokron. Don't keep me waiting, eh?
Normally I skip NPC dialogue, not for him. Do not ask why.
Oh, again, a Carian, I'm told I will. My never, I do forgive. Let us get together. Let together.
But after talking to the 3 of them, you can head back up to talk to Ronnie. And as you may be able to tell by now, this is one quest that intercepts and interweaves with multiple other quest lines, so it is very, very important to get.
I shall see. And it will be this doll still. I look. And it will be. I look.
And after talking to her, you are then free to leave. And while we have gotten through all of Caria Manor, and this technically isn't part of Caria Manor, I'm still going through all of it, because you can only get here after doing Caria Manor. So, here you can drop down onto here, it is safe, and down here, you can find Sylvis, and you can talk to him.
Well, where did you not read? Perhaps I'd like you to even you.
Whether you do this or not is up to you, but you should accept the task.
Good. Now I shall. Fine. I expect. I know the only thing are we, and I have a nut.
Now, again, whether you do that is up to you, but either way you get the potion. Like, whether you're going to do it or not, you get the potion, so it's worth doing. And then there you get the Black Wolf Mask, which is one part of Blythe's set. You don't get the rest of his set until later, but there, as you can see, is a ladder. You can use that ladder to climb up, or you can just head up here and use your horse. Either way works. And either way, you'll get a memory stone, which will allow you to equip another sorcery or incantation of your choice. But from there, you can continue on, drop down, and head to the right side, where you'll eventually see a rooftop that you can drop down onto. And then here, there's a drop you can take. Don't go sprinting off because momentum will carry you to your death. And here, Caria Manor. So, still in Caria Manor, but here there's an NPC.
Oh, you? Why not? But please. A little.
And from him you can purchase a handful of items. The ones of note being the Ritual Pot, the Glintstone Cookbook 7, which allows you to craft cold arrows, and the Ripple Blade, which is an axe that scales purely off of Arcane, with an A scaling in Arcane, which is pretty good. So, That's just about everything there. Though Selvus did ask us to have Nepheli drink a potion. And once again, whether you do that is up to you, but I'm going to do it just to show you what you get out of it. So, here's Nepheli.
Father has, and now.
You have the chance to give her the potion or the Stormhawk King. This determines how her quest ends.
Medicine, is it? Fine. It's very.
If you give her the Stormhawk King, then you will, at the very end of the game, be rewarded by having the ability to purchase an ancient dragon smithing stone. That's about it. There might be something else in terms of DLC, but as of right now, I have no information on that because the DLC is not out yet. So I can only go off the information that we currently have in the base game. But having her drink the potion, and then coming back to Selvus, we can give him the news.
Ah, well done. Very well. Knowledge, I doubt if you put your... You wish well?
And you can now purchase a handful of sorceries off of him, with the main one of interest being a freezing mist, which is decent, but you can also get glintstone ice crag, which is kind of like great glintstone shard, but with frost build up to it, which is pretty neat. You can also give him scrolls for more sorceries. But there you go. That is everything in Caria Manor. And next time, we are going to be going off to the Academy of Caria. I hope to see you there.